Have you ever stood outside on a clear night, looked up at hundreds of billions of galaxies, and thought, where is everyone? The universe is 13.8 billion years old. There are somewhere between 200 billion and 2 trillion galaxies out there. And yet silence. No signals, no transmissions, no visitors, nothing. This is called the Fermi paradox. Enrico Fermi, the physicist, summed it up in one devastating question back in 1950. He asked, where is everybody? There are dozens of proposed answers. Most assume the silence is a limitation, they're too far away, or signals just haven't reached us yet. But one theory says the silence isn't a limitation at all. It's a choice. This is the dark forest theory. And here's the wild part, it didn't come from a physics paper. A Chinese author named Liu Cixin introduced it in his trilogy, the Three-Body Problem series. Liu built an idea so internally consistent that scientists and philosophers have been discussing it ever since. Here's the core idea. Every civilization that survives long enough will eventually start running out of the resources it needs. And when that happens, expansion becomes survival. So every surviving civilization is, at some level, looking outward. Second, you can never be completely sure another civilization means you no harm. They might say they're peaceful, but you can't look inside their heads. And if you're wrong about trusting them, you don't get a second chance. That asymmetry where trusting is risky but staying silent costs you nothing drives everything. So the rational move for any sufficiently advanced civilization is to go dark. And if another civilization announces itself, the rational move is to eliminate it before it can eliminate you. Not because they hate you, because they can't afford to find out. That's the dark forest. Imagine walking through a forest at night. You don't know who else is in there. You don't know if they're armed. What do? Do you call out and hope for a friendly answer? Or do you stay silent and move as carefully as possible? According to the theory, the smart civilizations chose silence, and they chose it a long time ago. The civilizations that announced themselves, that sent out signals, tried to make contact, didn't last. That's why the universe sounds empty. It's not that there's no one home. It's that everyone turned the lights off. Now here's where it gets personal. We've been broadcasting our existence into space for over a century. Radio signals, television transmissions, military radar, all of it leaking out at the speed of light. Right now, a bubble of human electromagnetic noise is expanding outward from Earth, over 100 light-years across. We've already announced ourselves to a 200 light-year wide region of space. If the dark forest theory is correct, we may have already made the one mistake the theory warns against. But before this gets too terrifying, we have to be honest about what the theory actually is. The dark forest theory is a speculative hypothesis. It's not the most widely accepted explanation for the Fermi paradox. That's something you'll see said online a lot, but it doesn't hold up. Among researchers, there are many competing solutions to the Fermi paradox, the Great Filter, the Zoo hypothesis, the rare earth argument, and none has a clear scientific consensus. It originated as science fiction, Liu Cixin's Three-Body Problem trilogy, and while it's informed serious philosophical discussion, it doesn't come from a peer-reviewed physics paper. Also worth noting, some popular videos claim that radio waves can't travel between stars because the cosmic medium blocks them. That's not what the dark forest theory says. The theory is purely sociological. It's about how minds, not physics, create the silence. So does the theory hold up? The strongest part of the argument is the logic of the survival asymmetry. If you assume civilizations are rational and self-preserving, the math works out. But here's the assumption the theory leans on hardest, that all civilizations are fundamentally competitive and that they'd resort to preemptive destruction rather than any form of communication. That assumption is not proven, it's a projection. A civilization sufficiently different from us might not operate on the same logic of scarcity and threat. The theory is also sociological in a way that's hard to test. We can't observe what choices hidden civilizations are making. Science requires evidence, and right now the dark forest theory has none, beyond the silence itself. That said, the silence is real, and we do have to explain it. And that uncertainty is, honestly, the most interesting part. We are, right now, a civilization that has been sending signals into an unknown universe for over 100 years. We've been broadcasting our coordinates, our chemistry, our languages, our conflicts, everything. If the dark forest theory is even partially right, the most sophisticated thing we could do now is nothing. Some researchers have actually argued exactly that active METI projects which deliberately send powerful targeted signals toward other stars are a serious risk. Stephen Hawking publicly stated we should be cautious, that contacting an advanced civilization might not go well for us. Others strongly disagree, arguing that silence is itself a kind of cultural pessimism, and that any civilization capable of interstellar travel has probably moved past existential competition. That's the honest state of the debate. No consensus, no confirmed answer, just one of the most fascinating open questions in all of science. What we know for certain, the universe is old, enormous, and as far as we can tell, quiet. Whether that quiet is a physical accident, an extinction pattern, or a trillion civilizations all holding their breath, we don't know. But the dark forest theory forces you to sit with one specific, uncomfortable possibility. That somewhere out there, something ancient and capable looked in our direction, heard our signals, and decided not to respond. Maybe the silence is the answer.